In just a few hours, President Obama joins CNBC for a live town hall here in Washington, where he'll be answering questions from a studio audience. Ahead of that, we turn to some Washington insiders to learn what the Hill wants to hear today. Congressman Scott Garrett of New Jersey joins us on set, along with Becky and Joe. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's not every day the president does something like this, much less on a business network. As a Republican, do you think this is a chance for him to make a turn in policy, a turn in rhetoric, or is his hold on the midterms just too tenuous to do that right now?
Well, I'm always the optimist. I'm always a chance for a turn, but do I expect him to make the turn? Absolutely not. What the business community is looking for from this administration, what we've been looking for the last 19 months, is certainty, and that is just one thing that I don't think this president, this administration is ever going to give us.
How long do you think it's going to be before we get firm clarity on what's going to happen with taxes?
Well, there's the thing, it's actually the administration and Speaker Pelosi that really has the country on hold right now. I'm a Republican, and his mantra for the last year and a half or 2 years has been the Republicans are the party of no. Well, they right now have turned into the party of no by saying no. They're not going to tell us what they're going to do. No, they're not going to tell me what I'm doing this week when I go back to Washington. And no, they're not going to give us a certainty as well. So it's going to be a time before we get it.
Even if he wanted to do something like reach out to centrists, Congressman, I imagine you would agree he doesn't have a lot of rope to do that without alienating the left part of his party.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to watch out for his left flank going into this election. That's why you see all the problems that the Democrats are having nationally. But look, we've been saying since day one that we're willing to work with this administration, whether it was back on the stimulus plan, whether it was back on health care, whether it's on business-related issues. I think I told you my story when I handed him a document on health care, 24 different ideas, and I said, Mr. President, would you get back to me and talk to me about this during this whole discussion? He never called back. We're always willing to talk to him. He's just never willing to reach across the aisle in a substantive way to have any real honest discussions with us.
Would it surprise you? Lead story in the Times this morning is about the White House advisors trying to decide whether or not to tie the GOP to the Tea Party on a national level. Would it surprise you if he went that direction today?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, that would be, from their perspective, they'd be doing it from a negative approach. But look, I've been to a lot of these Tea Parties events. They've invited me there. I've spoken to them. I go mill into the crowd to see who these people are. They're not all hard right registered Republicans. The people in the crowds are also centrist. The people in the crowd are Democrats. They're independent. So by trying to smear the Republican Party by branding us with the Tea Party, well, the Tea Party is everybody across America. So you'd be effectively smearing us by saying, well, we're with the rest of America. Well, I guess we are right now.
Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton joins us from this morning from the District of Columbia as well. A Democrat. Congresswoman, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Talking to Congressman Garrett about today's town hall with the president. If you're in his shoes and you have a chance to do something like this on a business network, does it necessarily represent a change, a shift in your tone or your policy?
Perhaps so. I think it's a good opportunity for the president because he hasn't had as much opportunity to talk about what he's done for business and is doing for business. For example, we finally got these small business incentives passed. Only when Republicans went home, and small business must have gotten to them because the House had passed it months ago, but it was held up in the Senate. All of a sudden something happened. And we got 60 votes. And the president, of course, is focusing on loosening up small business, which provides the jobs now and businesses, period. For example, an incentive for all businesses that would say you would have write-offs for the whole of next year, small businesses and large businesses. So I think it's very important to focus on business because business and banks are holding money that should be invested now. Remember, we have raised, and in fact, for the last 8 months, you have seen job growth. For the first time. When you look at the 8 years of the Bush administration, we lost 800,000. We lost more jobs than we have lost in 75 years. So the growth hasn't been what we wanted, but the focus on small business, which is where we've been but couldn't get the bill through the Senate, is where we need to be now.
Congresswoman, over the weekend, Mayor Bloomberg was talking about the president. He's stopping short of endorsing him outright, but he makes the point that a lot of his wealthy friends, he says, expected to pay higher taxes, had no problem with that, but didn't expect to be vilified. Do you think the president will come in today and at least acknowledge to big business and the wealthy, look, I realize we haven't been on the best of terms?
Look, the president didn't vilify large givers. The president vilified Wall Street. And I'm telling you, I don't know anybody in America who wasn't vilifying Wall Street, who led us down the road that to the deepest pit since the Great Depression.
So that makes it okay?
Makes what okay?
Makes vilifying Wall Street okay? If everybody's doing it, does that mean it was right?
Wall Street is very different from vilifying his large donors. The president's grateful to his large donors, and in fact, he's never said anything about rich people as such. He's talking, the vilification has been about the entities that led us with their derivatives, with their mortgage horrors, which led us over the cliff. And it does seem to me that everybody, Tea Party, Republicans, yes, and Democrats joined in saying, Wall Street, there you did it again, and Wall Street, yes, has been the villain in the piece.
Congressman Garrett, Colin Powell also had some comments over the weekend where he said the public is overwhelmed by all the policy and that the president needs to focus on jobs, in his words, like a razor blade. What's more important to you, mending ties with the wealthy and Wall Street, or trying to set aside everything else and focus only on the labor market in this country?
Well, just to begin, I think Eleanor is right that neither she nor the president are probably vilifying their donors, but they are vilifying the Wall Street, which doesn't solve any of the problems right now. Look, the administration has to get out of this rubric that they're in for a long period of time, which is basically class warfare and class envy. That doesn't solve the problem. And yes, they have to do what Colin Powell and many of us have been saying since day one: focus like a laser beam, or however you want to describe it, right on job creation. Unfortunately, for the first 19 months of this year, he has been diverted into all these other areas, whether it's cap and trade and raising taxes on the homeowners, or whether it's the health care initiative and just putting a new problem between you and your doctor and raising taxes on businesses there as well. He's been diverted from the main focus, which is job creation, and right now throwing more money in yet another government program at these small businesses. Yes, tax credits and the like are good, but that's not going to do anything if there's not customers out there, and that's the real problem. A, not the lack of customers, people coming into your shop and buying something, and B, the lack of certainty. Right now, small businesses says, hey, I don't know what's not going to happen during lame duck, if you're going to raise taxes on me or you're going to impose new health care regulations. Those are the things that the federal government has created more uncertainty under this administration.
Congressman Garrett, thank you for your time. Congresswoman Holmes Norton, thank you to you as well. Beck?